Hey guys, welcome to Reddit Brew. You know the drill. We're back at it again with the r/entitledpeople Reddit stories. So let's just jump into it, shall we? My teacher cut the tube for my insulin pump because we couldn't have headphones in class. This happened when I was in middle school, you know, back in the days of wired headphones. So about 2011 or something. I've 24-year-old male currently, have been a type 1 diabetic since I was about 4 years old, and I use a continuous glucose monitor and an insulin pump. I had an IEP, so all my teachers were told about it, and that I would need my insulin pump in class, that it might make noise, and I might have to pull it out of my pocket and mess with it if I needed insulin, or I might need to drink a juice pouch, and I was able to do so at my discretion. We had one teacher who was a complete hard ass for no reason. She was notorious for making kids cry during presentations. She even told one girl who wanted to be a doctor to find a cure for cancer because her little sister had childhood cancer that she would need to actually be smart to do that while chuckling to herself. Let a kid dream, man. We were like 12 years old. As you can imagine, she was also at war with technology. And on a side note, these days, I use my phone to check my glucose and give myself insulin. I can't imagine being a kid today and dealing with a teacher like that when the lines are blurred and your smartphone actually is a life-saving medical device. But anyway, if you're not familiar with insulin pumps, the kind I use has a little tube that connects the pump which has the insulin to my body, which needs the insulin. This teacher also liked to be weirdly obtuse about things. Instead of being like other teachers and simply saying something like, "No cell phones in class, put it on my desk," which would allow me to remind them that it's an insulin pump. And they'd usually say something like, "That's right, my bad." She would instead try and talk abstractly about what she wanted to happen while walking around the room. So this particular day, she kept alluding to students listening to music in class, that you should be careful what you do because she can see it, that us kids think we're so sneaky, but the adults know what we're up to. I obviously wasn't listening to music, so I figured she'd seen someone with headphones in the room. And the next thing I know, she had snuck up behind me with scissors. It took me a good moment to realize what exactly had happened because I was astonished. I was used to teachers thinking I had a cell phone or getting upset about my pump beeping during an exam, but no one had ever touched it before, much less cut my life-sustaining tube. I was actually sitting with my mouth agape, and she turned to me now that she was at the front of the class again and said something along the lines of, "Mr. OP, care to share which tunes are more important than listening to class?" I'd at this point put together that she thought I was listening to music. She thought she cut my headphone wires. I replied, "Just the sound of my thoughts while I've still got any, since that was my insulin pump." She had to let me go to my locker to get my cell phone so I could call my mom to bring me a new infusion set. My parents insisted no cell phones until high school, but my mom was also scared with me being type 1 and too dyslexic to remember a phone number, and wanted me to easily be able to call her. So she got me a $15 Walmart phone and put minutes on it. And now I feel old. Then I just waited in the front office for her. She worked from home and drove like a bat out of hell. She was so angry. I don't ever want to see her that angry again in my life. It took 10 years off of me, and I wasn't even the one in trouble. When my mom showed up, I was sitting in the office waiting for her. I think it took her like 15 minutes to get there post phone call. She asked me if I was okay and checked out the damage that was done. I could tell she was mad, not with me obviously. She walked straight up to the receptionist and just asked where the teacher was, and they phoned the classroom and had my teacher come to the office. The principal also came out. My mom ripped her a new one, but she didn't yell. Though, I honestly think that made it more terrifying that she was very collected. I don't remember word for word, but basically she said that removing my insulin pump pump was a violation of my IEP, not to mention that it is a medical device and an extension of my body, which is keeping me alive, and that she would have the audacity to damage life-saving medical equipment was reckless and criminal. That type 1 diabetes is no joke and takes lives. That she should count herself lucky she didn't damage the pump itself, and she let her know how expensive they are, and everything they had to do to get me one. She's had years of practice having to argue to take food into places where they don't let you take outside food, or in the airport, that I can't take my pump through scanners, etc. She was very practiced at putting the fear of God into people, but in a way that they can't turn it on her and say she's being disruptive. The teacher said apologies to me, and all the teachers got more disability accommodation training or something. Kind of an anticlimactic end, but a friend thought it was entertaining and that I should share. Edit. I'm going to put some of my comments here so no one has to dig if you want more information. Yes, she knew I had a pump. I had an IEP, and my teachers were given the information they needed to know about my diabetes. Even still, a lot of non-diabetics just don't get it, or they forget. It would happen a lot, and teachers would ask for my phone if they saw me messing with it under my desk. Really, I was just going through a thing, and was really embarrassed about being diabetic, so I would often try to hide it. So I get how they thought that I had a phone, but usually a simple reminder that it's a pump was enough for every other teacher. Yes, she did get really close to me. I was facing the front of the room to look at the projector screen and to take notes. She snuck up behind me from the back of the room where she was lecturing at us from and reached her arm down towards me with the scissors. I didn't notice her doing that. Kids used to keep their iPod or whatever in their pocket and then run their headphones up their shirt. It's sometimes left a little bit of wire peeking out from their pocket to get to their shirt. That's where she cut the pump, was down at my waist. In terms of her apology, it wasn't too bad. We had a meeting with her, the principal, assistant principal, and a lady from our special ed office, plus me and my parents. She said she was sorry for her actions and that she shouldn't have treated me that way, and she hopes I don't grow up to expect people to act like that towards me. She forgot that I had a pump, but I didn't feel like she was making an excuse. She was saying she should have been more mindful and that it was her fault and that I did nothing wrong. She also said I was brave and calm in the face of adversity, stuff like that. And then she apologized to my mom and dad for frightening them, and for any costs, she offered to pay for it, but they declined. They wanted all teachers to get more education about kids with diabetes, and the school had like a nurse diabetes educator or someone come in to talk to the teachers. No, my parents didn't sue her or the school. No, she wasn't fired. Yes, I still had to be in her class. This was a tiny school, and they did a lot of backward things. They mishandled my learning disability as well, and one of my teachers was surprised that my dad has mild cerebral palsy and thought it must be so tough for me having to deal with that, and would talk to him like he was 5 during student-teacher conferences. He's an engineer. I mean, I'm glad the teacher seemingly genuinely felt remorseful and gave a seemingly legit apology, but like, I still feel like this teacher has a power tripping complex and should not be a teacher. Like, even if it were to just be headphones, what makes her think she has the right to destroy some kid's property? I personally would be fuming if my kid came home with cut up headphones via his teacher. A good rule of thumb is just don't touch your students or their property. Heck, not even just with children. This goes for everybody, everywhere, in any instance. Keep your damn hands to yourself. But anyway, that is all from me today. I hope you enjoyed this quick little entitled people story. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I truly appreciate when you do, and I will see you in the next Reddit story. Bye!